What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a NHL playoff bracket. So obviously we've got a lot of news on what it's going to be like. I basically have the play-in rounds on my computer here, and then I have this little bracket that I printed out of the top 4 teams, and I'll just be writing them down and talking about each team. So obviously I believe I have everything right, everything where the 4th seed will be the 1st, 2nd, 3rd for each division. I think I have right. So we'll start with Eastern Conference, and the first play-in round who will move on to play the Boston Bruins is the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, obviously the Maple Leafs have had their struggles with round number 1 playing against Boston, but now they don't have to. But they are playing against a team that pulled off a very shocking upset last season and has been very good this season in Columbus. Now, obviously, Toronto has the star power. They added some grit. I think Toronto wins this series. Now, I'm just going to say this. This is probably the toughest. I hate doing NHL brackets because they're so tough. And plus, we haven't watched hockey in a while, so I can't really give my take on certain teams. But I think Toronto wins this series in maybe 4 to 5 games. I think Columbus really takes it to them, but I think Toronto prevails. So the Maple Leafs will move on to face the Bruins. The next game, who will play the 2 seed, or the next series, they'll play the 2 seed, which is Tampa Bay Lightning, is the New York Islanders taking on the Florida Panthers. Now, obviously, you take a look at both teams. Florida has way more star power all around, I would say. But the Islanders have shown they're a very good team. They're a physical team. Obviously, they have a lot of depth. Guys like Barzell, Bailey, Nelson all chip in. They just added Pajot, who's a gritty scoring center. But I just have a funny feeling that Florida prevails. Because if Bobrovsky plays that plays that Columbus-style hockey we saw with him in Columbus, and obviously the guys like Barkov, Huberdeau, Ekblad, Yandel, all of them show out. I just think, and plus how the Islanders played the last half of the season, the last few games before the pause. But obviously this break might be what they needed. But I think Florida takes this one in about 4 to 5 games. I'm not really going to go off the games just because it's so hard, but I think the Panthers take this, which I feel like the Tampa Bay would rather play the Islanders than the Panthers. So the next series, who is the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the New York Rangers. Obviously, me being a Rangers fan, I'm very ecstatic the Rangers are in the playoffs. The winner of this goes on to play the Washington Capitals. Now, a lot of talk is that the Carolina Hurricanes have vetoed against this. Obviously, I don't think they want to play the Rangers in round 1. I feel like they feel like they could have gotten probably a better matchup. But obviously, the Rangers beat them all 4 games this year. 2 of them were very, very close. The other 2, the Rangers won they won 5-2 and 4-1, I believe. So this is going to be probably one of the best series, I think. I'm not trying to be biased, but I think the Rangers will take this in definitely 3 to 4 games. The Rangers were just so hot before the pause, but I could just see maybe the pause messing up that mojo the Rangers had. But I think the Rangers will take this one in a very fast series, in my opinion. It's going to be hard to see who the Rangers go with in goal, but I think whoever they go with, even if they go with Lundqvist, who played well against Carolina, I think he won both the first 2 games, or he won the first one at home because I was at that game. And that game, the Rangers got off to a hot start, 3-0, but then the Carolina Star just dominated the rest of the game. So that's what you could see with the Rangers. They can go off, and then Carolina can just come right back. So I think the Rangers win this in 3 to 4. 4 to 5 games. So obviously with obviously, I mean, it doesn't really matter who has home ice advantage. Well, I guess it does if you go to 5 games because it's 3-2 basically. I think that's how. I'm assuming that's how they're gonna do it. Like they would be like 2 at Carolina, 2 at the Rangers. So I guess if you could get that first, if you could steal one of those first games for any team on the road, then you'll have a really good. Then you'll have 2 games to win at home. So the last series for the East is the Penguins taking on the Canadiens. I believe this is going to be a 3-game, 4-game series. I just don't think the Canadiens really were good at all this season. Obviously, they still a young team, but I think Penguins just outclassed them and just, yeah. Obviously, if Carey Price plays tremendous, even though he hasn't been that great this year, but we'll have to see. So now going over to the West, I want to try to go through this pretty quickly. We have the Flames taking on the Jets. Now, winner of this would play the Blues. This is going to be a 5-game series and might be one of the best series of all, just because of due to the Jets team and their obviously they got a lot more experience than the Flames. The Flames have had their first round struggles, but I just think the way Liney's been playing, everybody been playing on the Jets, I think the Jets take this in 5. I just don't see. I think, in my opinion, I think the Jets will win this, but that's going to be one of the best series in my opinion. The next one is Vancouver and Minnesota, and they will be taking on the Avalanche. I think Vancouver takes this 1 in 4, maybe 3. Even though Minnesota's been a good team this year, I think the Canucks will take this one because Minnesota doesn't have as much star power than the Canucks. Next series is the Nashville and Arizona. This is definitely going to be an interesting series. I just think Arizona's had some struggles this year. I see Nashville taking this one in about 5 games maybe. Even though I think Arizona could beat them no problem. I think they're both really even teams, but just I think the way Coyotes have struggled, they haven't been as consistent, and maybe that could carry over. Now, last series who will take on the Stars is Oilers Chicago. This will be a pretty good series, and obviously Oilers, sometimes I could just see Blackhawks really giving them a tough series. Obviously, they might be led by Taves and Kane. I haven't watched a ton of Blackhawks this year, but they haven't really been that great. But I think they will be pretty good against Edmonton. But I think Edmonton squeezes this out in all 5 games. So Oilers will be going on to take on the Stars. So I believe that the rest of this playoffs will be 7 games each. I thought I read that the conference finals and the finals will only be 7 games. But we're just going to do it all by 7 games. So we'll go starting with the East, the Bruins and Maple Leafs. The way the Bruins play this year, I think, is just the Bruins are so good. The way they play against the Rangers, at least their defense is tremendous. I think the Bruins beat the Maple Leafs yet again in about 6 to 7 games, and possibly 5 if the Maple Leafs struggle against the Bruins' defensive. Their defense and obviously their offense on defense is crazy. Next round is the Flyers-Penguins. This is going to be a very fun series to watch. Flyers have been deadly this year. Of course, they have young Carter Hart. This is definitely going to be a tough one. I see it going in 6 and 7, 6 or 7 games. I don't know. I'm gonna come back to that one. That's really tough. So Lightning Panthers, the Battle of Tampa Bay. I think Battle of Tampa Bay, Battle of Florida. Well, obviously it's the state and the city. I think the Lightning take this one in 6. Definitely going to be a star. Definitely going to be a crazy series in my opinion. But Lightning take this in 6, in my opinion, just because I think the Lightning are going to come, they're going to be hungry, and they're going to make a deep run this year. Capitals and Rangers. It's definitely going to be tough to pick against my Rangers, but I'm not trying to be a homer. I think the Rangers really give the Capitals a tough series. The Rangers were 2-1 against the Capitals this season, with I think the first game playing at Washington. The Rangers cut it to 3-2, but then the Capitals put it empty net. And then the Rangers won 4-1, and then the Rangers won overtime, where it's benched out at 5 goals. But it was a really back-to-back game. I think the Rangers take this series to 7, but I see the Capitals taking it, and the Rangers will go home. But definitely good experience for the young players, the Rangers, playing against a team like Washington. But I think Washington takes that series. But, as good as we've seen the Rangers play, you never know. They can maybe make it far, but I'm going to go, I think Capitals will take it. But it's going to be close. Now going back to the Flyers and Penguins, I just think the Flyers are so good against the Rangers here. I think the Flyers take this in like 6 or 7, in my opinion. I don't really have that's just a tough series. This is why I hate doing this, because there's so many tough series. So now moving on to the West, we have Blues and Jets. Obviously a rematch of last year. Blues have been good this year. I feel like the Jets could beat them though, but I'm really not so sure. I'm going to come back to that. We'll start from the bottom. So Golden Knights, Predators. I think the Golden Knights take this series in about 5 to 6 games, really. But obviously, I think the Predators sometimes surprise me. I always kind of look down on the Predators. I don't know why. Maybe because I just haven't seen a lot of them this year. I just haven't watched a lot of Predators games. But I think Golden Knights will win that series. Next is the Avalanche Canucks. Definitely going to be a 7 games or 6 or 7 games. A lot of these series are going to be 6 or 7 games, but you never know. A team could come out flat, and a young team like the Canucks, it could maybe happen to them. But I just think they're stuck. Pedersen, Besser, and all of them, it's not going to happen. Plus, I think Besser was hurt, so now he's come back. But I think the Avalanche take this in about 6 or 5, in my opinion. Obviously, we'll have to see what the goaltending is on both sides. Stars, Oilers, I think Stars are, a better team all around. Goaltending, definitely on the Stars side. I think the Stars win this in 6 games. Going back to the Blues and Jets, definitely a 7-game series, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm very fixed on this one. I just have a feeling the Jets will pull it out. I think the Jets will get to Bennington early. I'm going to go with the Jets. I think the Jets will take that series. But it's very close. I am really not so sure. So, for the Eastern Conference Divisional, we have Bruins, Flyers, Lightning, Capitals, and the West we have Golden Knights, Avalanche, Stars, and Jets. So going back to the East, Bruins and Flyers, definitely a 6 to 7 game series, but I see the Bruins stopping the Flyers' offensive attack. Obviously, they're both very sick teams, defensively, offensively, and goaltending. It's going to be a great series, but I think the Bruins take that one. Lightning, Capitals, definitely a interesting one. That's another great series, but I think 6 to 7 games. I think Tampa Bay will take this. I think they'll have the home ice advantage. I think the Lightning will move on to play the Bruins in the conference final. So I think that's how it's set up, even though the Bruins and Lightning are in the same division. This is basically just going off conferences, so it's not really going off division. So going over to the West, the Jets and Stars, I think the Jets take... Oh, actually, I don't know. This is a tough one. Definitely another... Most of these are going to be 6 or 7 games, man. Or even, I barely see any sweeps in this. Maybe the Oilers and... Maybe, like, the Oilers and... I don't really know. I don't know. The Avalanche or Golden Knights, that's another nice one. I think the Golden Knights might win. I'm going to go over the Golden Knights and Avalanche. I think that I don't really see the goaltending in Avalanche. I mean, who do they have? They have Grubauer, who's been good, but then they have that guy Francois. I don't really know his name, but I haven't really seen a lot of him. But I think the Golden Knights take this, because the Golden Knights, I think, are just better all around. Actually, not really better all around, but I think, I just think Fleury will be at his best. Fleury is just unbelievable in playoffs. And Golden Knights should have won last year. That was a tough, still a just questionable call on the Sharks' part. So the Jets, Stars. Obviously, we saw how good Ben Bishop was. I just like the Jets this year. I just think the way Liney's been playing, I think the Jets take this in like 6 games. So now the last remaining 4. We started with 24, now we have 4. On the East, we have Bruins, Lightning, and Jets, Golden Knights. I believe all of them are in the same division, but obviously this is going off conference. So the East, Bruins and Lightning. This is going to be a great... Obviously the Bruins are tremendous defensively. I think Lightning take this in 6. I do. I think the Lightning will take this in 6. I just feel like the Bruins will... Obviously, the Lightning beat the Bruins a couple years back. I think the Bruins will get off to a good start, but I think Lightning will win that in 6. Even though I'm really... obviously, I mean, I kind of like the Bruins, even though I'm a Ranger fan. I think maybe we should New York, Boston. I should hate them, but I think the Bruins are tremendous. They played great against the Rangers in the second game we played them. The first game, the Rangers were up 2-0, and the Bruins came back. Golden Knights, Jets. Another interesting series. I have no idea. I might have to go Golden Knights in 6. I think the Golden Knights. Actually, I don't know, man. Or the Jets. I'm really. For some reason, I've been really high on the Jets this year. This is a tough one, in my opinion. Everyone was tough. Like I said, if I pick the Golden Knights and you totally disagree with me, please don't hate on me. I'm really, I'm not. I obviously haven't watched hockey in a while, and plus these are just tough matchups. I think. I just have a funny feeling that Golden Knights have a little more depth on the blue line, and I'm gonna go with Vegas Golden Knights to move on to their, what is it, second Stanley Cup final in how many years? Their third year. So, and I guess maybe you could see it, sort of, kind of, maybe. Sorry if my handwriting's a little messy. But this is what I've been writing on, and basically after the play-in round. So Tampa Bay, Vegas. I believe Tampa Bay will have the home ice advantage. Yes, they will. I wonder how they're going to do it. They'll probably go off like wins. To say if it's like the two top teams in each division, each conference make it. So Vegas and Lightning. I just have a funny feeling Tampa will take this in 6 or 7. I just think Tampa Bay is definitely going to be on their game this year. They're not going to take anything for granted. And Vegas is definitely going to give them a series, but I just don't think Vegas gets done. And that is my NHL playoff bracket.